So Cathal, after your masters, how did you get the job that you're in at the moment?
Well, I suppose this links on to something that Tuvana mentioned earlier, and it's one of the reasons that I enjoyed Maynooth, and it's one of the reasons why I stayed on to do the masters there, is that the lecturers are wonderful and they do take an interest in you as a student. And that is it, when a lecturer took an interest in me and said, Carl, I've heard of a job, I've seen it advertised, I think it might be worth sending your CV in there. My thesis supervisor, Dr. Aileen Dorsey, you've seen a photo of her in the presentation. She said, Carl, I think this might be a good fit for you when I was doing my master's. So I sent in the CV, got called in for the job interview. Obviously it went all right and I ended up there. So I started late 2019 in there, I think. September, October 2019, I'd have started there. It is a requirement to have a master's degree to get in. So that's one of the examples of a job where you need a minimum of a master's degree to get in. So I work as a researcher in the ESRI. I work on the macro and housing team. So we produce reports essentially. So the ESRI is like a think tank or research institute. And it's again, as Tuvana said, problem solving a lot of the time. Sometimes it's commentary, sometimes it's problem solving. So I'm part of a team that produces a quarterly report, kind of takes an overview of the whole economy, and we put it out every 3 months, kind of say, this is where we've come from, this is where we think we're going to go, across a range of indicators, labour market, consumption, imports, exports, all that good stuff, public finances. Also on the housing team, so one of the examples I think is nice is earlier on in the pandemic, when the pandemic initially struck, the Department of Housing came to the ESRI and said, look, there's an awful lot of people have to be made unemployed. We're worried. Are the rental supports and the income supports that the state have introduced going to be enough to stop a huge spike in rent arrears? And that was a question that I was part of the team, and we tackled that. We had a look at it. So we looked at it. Now it turned out the PUP was quite generous, and you haven't seen or heard of a spike in rental arrears in the media. So it turned out that the supports kind of did their job, but at the start that wasn't clear whether they would or they wouldn't. So that was a question that we tackled. Some of the other work we do is looking at rent pressure zones and where they're designated and their impact, whether they're working or not. So it's again problem solving, stuff like that. Some of my colleagues, a couple of them went to Oxford, a couple of them went to Trinity, a couple of them went to UCD. I'm from Maynooth. So we're all doing the same work. And I know some of those colleges, you don't need me to say it. Some of them have, certainly Oxford anyway, has a more prestigious name than Maynooth. But I did my degree in Maynooth. We've all landed in the same place. So I wouldn't let that put you off picking Maynooth. Have I left anything else about work? No, I think I've probably given I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, you've given a super comprehensive overview of what you do. Amazing. Thank you so much.